Well, good morning and welcome to the 2022 State of the City and our annual meeting. My name, if you don't know me already, is Kristina Hudson. I'm CEO of OneRedmond, and I have to say I'm so excited to see everyone here today in person. So welcome, and I'd also like to welcome our virtual audience as well. And before we begin our program, I'd like to thank the organizations and sponsors for their support in helping make this event possible. Big thank you to the City of Redmond for hosting this event. Our presenting sponsors, Amazon, Overlake Medical Center and Clinic. I'd like to thank our supporting sponsors, Business Health Trust, and our contributing sponsors, especially Melanie from the French Bakery for all that delicious food outside. Yes. Biz Diversity, Centro Cultural Mexicano, Eastside for All, Experience Redmond, Indian American Community Services, formerly IAWW, Move Redmond, Together Center, and VALA. And I would also like to thank all the members who invest in OneRedmond, in particular our founding level investors, the City of Redmond, Microsoft, and Nelson Legacy Group. And at OneRedmond, you all may know this, but we are a Chamber of Commerce. We're an economic development enterprise, and we're a community foundation. And I would like to recognize our OneRedmond Board of Directors for their vision and support of our community as they provide leadership and direction to the organizations. And if you all could just take a little stand, and if you're in the virtual world, feel free to stand up too. I want to say thank you. I'd also like to thank our OneRedmond Foundation Board of Directors, and if you could all please stand as well, that'd be great. Thank you. And I'd like to acknowledge our elected officials today. We have today Redmond City Council Vice President Vanessa Kritzer and Council members Melissa Stewart and David Carson. Joining us virtually is Redmond City Council member Jessica Forsyth, and I want to thank you all for being here today, and a big thank you to the entire council for their support. Also, Also in our virtual audience, we have Covington Mayor Jeff Wagner, Federal Way Mayor Jim Farrell, Issaquah Mayor Mary Lou Pauley, Kirkland Mayor Penny Sweet, and Renton Mayor Armando Pavone. And joining us from our Washington State Legislature, we have Representative Roger Goodman, and I think you're here today. Yes, thank you. Senator Patty Kuderer and Representative Vandana Slatter. And we also have representatives from the offices of King County Councilmember Sarah Perry and U.S. Representative Susan Del Bene. So again, welcome to the State of the City and OneRedmond's annual meeting. And when I talk about OneRedmond, I always describe it as a unique and dynamic organization. Yes, we are the Chamber of Commerce for the City of Redmond. Yes, we are the Economic Development Enterprise. And yes, we are a community foundation. We are all this rolled into one, our OneRedmond, which was designed to efficiently leverage public and private partnerships to make each tax dollar and private investment have a stronger and more positive impact. And this really gives true meaning to what has been our ongoing theme for the last 3 years, Stronger Together. And as we come from the depths of the pandemic and into our first hybrid event, what better place to hold this event than at Redmond City Hall, the place where our leaders knew that partnerships and collaborations between the public and private sectors were the key to supporting our community in a better and different way. People come to this region to change the world, to be that industry disruptor. And I would argue that OneRedmond is also an industry disruptor that affords us the opportunity to align industry and community partnerships and leverage those economies of scale to make public dollars stretch further and to get better results. So now I'd like to welcome to the podium Mary Morrow, OneRedmond President and Chairman of the Board.
Thank you, Kristina. Good morning. This is such a wonderful opportunity to see everyone in person, so thank you for being here this morning. Okay. This year marks OneRedmond's 10th anniversary. 10 years ago, there were 3 separate organizations, as Kristina mentioned: the Greater Redmond Chamber of Commerce, the Redmond Economic Development Association, and the Redmond Foundation. OneRedmond was created as a public-private partnership. The 3 entities were combined into one efficient organization with a vision to bring commerce to the community and to strengthen our region for all who live and work here. A vision that brings together business, government, education, and community for an organized purpose and unified voice. Over the last 10 years, we have worked with thousands of businesses, large and small. We have helped bring over 5,800 jobs to our community. Our mentorship programs worked with over 800 established startups, and our work directly resulted in funding for programs that trained 250 of our residents for jobs in our local companies. We helped to catalyze a private sector-led affordable housing study to stimulate development. With our foundation, we developed new high-profile events and activities that focus on Redmond's urban centers. We developed a one-of-a-kind and unique Redmond events: the world's largest game of Simon and the Dragon Run, which is a digital scavenger hunt. And there are more to come. These events brought fun and excitement to our downtown park. As we reached 2020, OneRedmond's expertise in economic development and community development really became apparent. Our team held a leadership role in helping East King County businesses navigate the economic downturn. Within the first year of the pandemic, OneRedmond was one of the few organizations in the region to receive federal funds from the Economic Development Administration. These funds allowed our organization to expand and to create One East Side. Kristina and her team led COVID recovery and resiliency efforts across the 23 cities and towns of East King County. With this expansion of staffing and scope of work, last year we helped almost 800 small businesses that support over 50,000 jobs. This hard work by OneRedmond team has not gone unnoticed. Last fall, OneRedmond was recognized as an international leader in economic development with 2 awards from the International Economic Development Council. I would like to take a moment to recognize Kristina, Hudson, and her team: Margot Shirama, Kathleen Miller, Samantha Paxton, Sean Palmer, Audrey Fan, Donna Bannister, Justine Mulholland, and Sarah Meeks. If any of you are here, I'd love if you just stand for a moment. As Kristina says, they are a small but mighty team, and boy, what they have accomplished this year has just been astounding, so thank you. Now at our 10-year milestone, OneRedmond has proudly created a platform where public and private sector leaders can come together to make our region the best place to live, work, and play. And I'm sure if you've noticed what's been going on in Redmond, we have a lot more going on, and it's so exciting. Now we stand at the precipice of an opportunity to shape the future of Redmond and the East Side. As our communities grow before our very eyes, we have a platform to come together and to make our voices heard. A platform to come together on issues that matter to the people who live here. A platform to be intentional about what our community will be like tomorrow. It has been an honor to be a part of OneRedmond and what we have accomplished in the last 10 years. But I am even more excited to see what is to come in the next 10. So thank you again for being here, and without further ado, turn it back to Kristina.
Thank you, Mary. And next, I'd like to welcome Michael Mattmiller, Director of Government Affairs for Microsoft and Vice President of the OneRedmond Board of Directors.
Great. Thank you, Kristina. And if I could just take a moment and say thank you again to Kristina and the entire OneRedmond staff, and for as easy as you make these events and for everything you do for us. You certainly do make us look good. Thank you. Well, this morning I have the honor to recognize Mary Morrow, our president of the OneRedmond organization, and also chairman of the board. Mary is also the owner and managing director of the Nelson Legacy Group. And as some of you may know, the Nelson family has been a pillar of our community for the past 70 years. They acquired and built their first piece of commercial property here in Redmond in 1952, when Redmond had no stoplights and less than 1,000 people. As a resident and small business owners of the city of Redmond, they have been the foundation for our small business community. In addition to her work with Nelson, Mary serves as a partner and chairman of the award-winning North Coast Moving and Storage. Community has been a passion for Mary. She has served a variety of charities across the country that focus on women's education, K-12 education, as well as Alzheimer's and cancer research. Mary took leadership of OneRedmond during the pandemic. During these past 2 unprecedented years, Mary's guidance and leadership has helped OneRedmond pivot to an organization focused on economic recovery and supporting Redmond business during COVID, as well as this new period where we're focused on educational planning and financial tools. In addition, under Mary's leadership, OneRedmond has expanded and amplified our voice and impact through the One Eastside Spark program. I will say personally, Mary has been a tremendous leader from whom I have learned a lot about how to work within our community, how to have voice and impact, and certainly a perspective across the years here on the East Side. And I do hope that while you will get to spend more time in Fort Worth going forward, that we'll continue to see you here in Redmond as well. So Mary, for your leadership and service, we'd like to present you with this award. If you would come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just so excited that Michael will be taking the helm, because I know that we are going to be in very good hands. So
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, well, thank you, Michael, and thank you, Mary. And for me and my entire staff, I want to thank you for taking the helm, especially during one of the most challenging times in our community. You and our board members, excuse me, gave us the platform to make a difference to thousands of small businesses. And really, we serve at the pleasure of our board. Thank you for everything. All right, next, to introduce the star of our program today, I'd like to bring up Jared Axelrod, Senior Manager of Public Policy for Amazon. Jared.
Well, thank you, Kristina. Great to see you all here in person and virtually. For those attending virtually, the sun is shining through the windows here. It's really a beautiful day in Redmond, so really excited to be with you all this morning. I'm Jared Axelrod with Amazon, and we are so excited to be the presenting sponsor of this year's hybrid OneRedmond 2022 State of the City Summit. I'm honored to have been asked to introduce Mayor Birney to deliver the State of the City address. But before I do, I wanted to quickly take this opportunity to highlight Amazon's growing and continued investment in Redmond. Amazon is excited to be a growing part of the Redmond community and economy. As many of you know, in late 2019, we announced Redmond would be the research and development headquarters for Amazon's Project Kuiper. Project Kuiper is a new initiative to launch a constellation of low Earth orbit satellites that will provide low latency, high-speed broadband connectivity to unserved and underserved communities around the world. Since its inception, the Kuiper team has made significant progress towards our goal to serve tens of millions of people who lack basic access to broadband internet. Our Kuiper facilities here in Redmond include offices and design space, R&D labs, and prototype manufacturing facilities to allow our teams to innovate on behalf of our customers. In addition to our Project Kuiper teams, we're also proud to have several Amazon Web Services teams here in Redmond as well, working on amazing capabilities to meet and anticipate our customers' needs. Our sites in Redmond are part of our broader Puget Sound headquarters, which includes our offices in Seattle and Bellevue, and we're proud to now have more than 75,000 employees across the Puget Sound region, and since 2010 have invested more than $129 billion in Washington State. But we recognize that simply investing in our offices and employees is not enough, and we must connect with community to form hyperlocal relationships, and that includes right here in Redmond. That's why we partner with great organizations that serve Redmond and the East Side community, like HopeLink, a nonprofit working to end poverty in the region, and many other nonprofits serving the community as well. It's also why last year, in the midst of the pandemic, we announced a $100,000 donation to support One Eastside Spark, which has helped small and local businesses and nonprofits offset costs for PPE in order to safely reopen. I saw a photo of a slide here with some of that, with Mayor and Kristina delivering some of that. We continue to find ways to support the Redmond community as well, which is why we're excited this year to sponsor Redmond Derby Days, which, as you probably know, has been around since 1939. So we're really excited to help keep this long-standing tradition going strong. We also want to support efforts in the community that will be around for generations to come, which is why I'm excited to share today that Amazon will be making a $150,000 donation for the new Redmond Senior and Community Center. Yeah. Thank you. We can't wait to have that open in late 2023, and perhaps in a few years, we'll all be back together for another State of the City Summit in that new space. So we're really excited to be a part of the Redmond community and look forward to working together with all of you. So now I'm delighted to introduce our featured speaker, Mayor Angela Birney. Since taking office in early 2020, Mayor Birney has successfully led the city of Redmond through unprecedented times. Through her leadership and partnership with the Redmond City Council, Mayor Birney has awarded over $1.8 million in small business resilient grants to Redmond's small business and nonprofit community. In addition to adapting to challenges Redmond has faced, Mayor Birney is also looking ahead into the future and planning how to ensure Redmond continues to maintain its high quality of life for all. I know we look forward to hearing more about her thoughts on the state of the city and its future this morning. So please join me in welcoming Mayor Angela Birney.
All right, first we have to make sure the technology is working. Nico, timed out. I need assistance for a moment. Where is it? Oh. Needed to charge my laptop, didn't charge my laptop, borrowing a laptop. You know, it's hybrid, it's in person, but I still have tech issues. It did, it locked.
Mayor, bring your microphone down.
Okay, will do. Thank you for all your patience. No, do it backwards. It's kinder. Thank you. Much appreciated. Awesome. This is great. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you, Kristina, Mary, and Jared, where'd Jared go, for the kind introduction and for being here today. Thank you, OneRedmond, for sponsoring this event. OneRedmond has been an excellent private-public partner for the last 10 years, starting with the 3 entities of OneRedmond, Microsoft, and the city, coming together to create efficiencies and innovations and to spearhead economic development and the Chamber of Commerce resources in Redmond. It has really proved its worth during these challenging years the pandemic has caused by our listening and supporting our businesses and community of Redmond. I want to give a big welcome to everyone who has joined us either in person or virtually this morning. It is wonderful to have this opportunity to see many of your whole faces in person. And some have masks, and that's great too. It is truly my privilege to serve as your mayor, and I am so excited to present my 3rd State of the City today. When I took office in January of 2020, we had no idea where these last few years would take us. However, I am proud of the adaptability and resiliency of our community, the community we all love. Today, I will share with you our story of the last year and how we are looking excitedly into the future. When I began the role as mayor, I wanted to focus on personal stories of our community and the people that make those stories and Redmond the welcome and thriving city it has become. Cities exist to support our community, and what better way to show the great work that our city does than through these voices. I would like to thank and recognize the many people who have demonstrated their continued commitment to our community, including the Redmond City Council, 14 different boards and commissions, countless city volunteers, invaluable community partnerships, and everyone who gets involved, provides their input on projects, attends meetings, and contributes to decision-making that impacts our community, and of course, our city staff. I want to thank our communications staff and OneRedmond for making this hybrid event possible. Last year, when I asked my staff to create hybrid council meetings, I had no idea the intricacies involved. A simple request of, let's have hybrid meetings, turned out to be extremely complicated. But our staff stepped up and made it happen. Let's have a round of applause for them. We have this time today to share what, by working together, we have accomplished over the last year, as well as taking some time to look into the future. However, I need to at least mention the 800-pound gorilla of the last 2 years and some thoughts about it. I'm going to go a little retro here, or maybe a bit obscure. Does anyone remember A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? See, there's a few. Thank you. In the TV show, "Don't Panic" in big glowing letters would pop up as the main character made his way through the uncertain and unpredictable universe. That flashing image came to mind many times over the last 2 years as the pandemic and other unusual events took place. How have we gotten through these last 2 years? The mantra of "don't panic" is how we're able to keep serving our community with little or no disruption. Keeping our community safe and healthy through the pandemic has been a top priority. The adaptability and flexibility of our staff and community is inspiring. While not panicking, we were able to accomplish a lot. Let's celebrate a few highlights. Our Redmond Police Department adopted the Police Lexipol Policy and Procedures Manual, which manages our police to the highest standards. All of the light rail permitting is complete. That was big. We saved $3.2 million taxpayer dollars by refinancing our bonds. Federal CARES Act funding was used for rental and small business assistance. And we continued to keep water, wastewater, and stormwater flowing in all of the right directions. We facilitated vaccine clinics throughout our community, helping to achieve one of the highest vaccination rates in the county. So a big thank you to our staff and our community for getting all of these things done. As I begin my third year in office, while continuing to keep everyone safe and healthy, I remain focused on my vision of Redmond as a connected community that enhances livability, sustains the environment, and that places Redmond as a leader locally, regionally, and nationally. Something we have all learned in the last few years is the importance of being connected. Be it through the virtual universe or in person, we are much better as a society when we can collaborate, meet up, or share a meal. Redmond has been making investments in our community so that all of you can have these kinds of opportunities through parks, trails, facilities, and events. This past year, we celebrated the reopening of 2 facilities. First, by investing $9 million in the Redmond pool, we have ensured its lifespan for another 40 to 50 years. All 3 of my daughters learned to swim at Hartman Pool, and I recall, not so fondly, of sitting on the bleachers, inhaling the chlorinated air, waiting for the lessons to be over. Yeah, some of you were there too. When I had the opportunity to tour the just completed pool, I texted my daughter and said, "Remember how yucky the pool was?" Well, it's not anymore. Now our pool is a beautiful and clean place where children can take swim lessons and celebrate birthdays. All ages can exercise and have fun during open and lap swimming, and the Lake Washington School District swim team can practice and compete in a place we can all be proud of. Hang on, technology. Excellent. It's all good till we have, like, the technology says you have to, like, re-engage. Some years ago, when I was a council member, a group of neighbors asked during a budget hearing for us to start making improvements to Westside Park sooner than later. I'm sure Councilmember Carson remembers this. We listened, and by working with our staff, moved up available funding to an earlier time frame. Those neighbors stayed involved in the upgrade process. They took time out of their own busy schedules to give input and suggestions to make the park what the neighborhood needed. This past fall, we reopened Westside Park, which now offers our first playground to open since our extensive American with Disabilities Act transition plan was adopted in 2019. This updated park provides an inclusive place where all kids of all ages can play and experience the benefits that parks bring to each of us. I happened to see some of those neighbors recently, and they shared that the park, rain or shine, is used daily by many happy families. Our Parks Department continues to make our parks and trails some of the most used in the region. From the heavily used downtown and grassland parks to keeping our trails and forests maintained, our crews make sure they stay at the standard we have all come to expect. And there are 2 more projects that we'll be able to enjoy soon. The final piece of the Redmond Central Connector and the new Redmond Senior and Community Center. The final portion of the Redmond Central Connector is the last 1.6 miles of trail that will connect Redmond to Kirkland and Woodinville and the rest of the East Trail. Within Redmond, the completion of the Redmond Central Connector gives car-free opportunities for commuting and exercise, as well as easy access to eating and or drinking at some of the wonderful restaurants and breweries Redmond has to offer. We would like to thank the Washington State Legislature for funding a portion of this important regional connector and our partner, Puget Sound Energy. Thank you. We are also eager for the opening of the new state-of-the-art Redmond Senior and Community Center, which will be completed on the City Hall campus in late 2023. This project has enjoyed widespread community support for many years and has been thoughtfully designed based on vast outreach and community input. The Redmond Senior and Community Center will be a place where all ages can gather and recreate. It will have dedicated senior spaces, including a lounge and library, as well as a multi-purpose community room, active recreation areas, including gym space, which includes a group exercise studio, an elevated walk-jog track, weightlifting and cardio areas, and classroom spaces for art, music, and games. We want to thank the community for their continued patience and crucial involvement in making this major project a reality. An honored tradition that our community loves and will be coming back this year is Derby Days. I spent many of my years in Redmond helping my kids decorate their tricycles, wagons, big wheels, and bikes as the kids' parade. And they got older, their attention was redirected toward the carnival and other activities, and my husband and I were finally able to enjoy the beer and wine garden. Those activities and more will be back again this year. Many Redmond families have made Derby Days a tradition in their lives. I am excited to be able to say Derby Days returns this year on July 8th and 9th. All right. Most events will be here on the City Hall campus, and our bike races will be held with our partners at the Mary Morrow Velodrome. I hope to see each of you there. The parks, events, and recreational activities that Redmond loves all started as community ideas. They came about through what we call the Park Plan. That's Parks, Arts, Recreation, Culture, and Conservation Plan. We're beginning the next update of the Park Plan, and we need to hear from you. Please give your input on the future of parks and recreation. An important aspect of a livable and well-connected community is found in the strength and vibrancy of all our local businesses. These businesses are the lifeblood of any vibrant city and are made possible through the hard work and dedication of our neighbors, friends, and families. OneRedmond, in partnership with the city, hosted 4 ribbon cuttings ceremonies last year, and over the last 2 years, visited more than 150 small businesses through the Small Business Walk program. We've been working hard to learn how we can better assist our local businesses and adapt and recover from the ever-changing pandemic environment. A significant portion of our federal CARES Act money went directly to the support of our hardest-hit businesses. Those funds and others were used to set up the One Eastside Spark to make sure businesses are getting the help they need, and without these dollars, many would not have survived. We are also looking forward to relaunching the Geek Out Gold tourism promotion in April. Through the initial promotion last year, we were able to generate over 1,550 hotel night stays, which returned a total economic impact of over $268,000. The program made national headlines with coverage in more than 45 media stories. I am thrilled we could share what makes Redmond such a wonderful place for so many new visitors. While tourism remained low last year, we expect many more Redmond events and visitors will return based on the record number of tourism grant applications we received. These beloved and diverse events will bring hundreds of thousands of people together to celebrate here in Redmond while supporting our Redmond businesses. Currently, Redmond is a very livable city. But how do we enhance our livability in the future so that Redmond is a place where anyone can live and flourish? The kinds of housing choices in Redmond are increasing, from townhouses or single-family homes in more residential areas to a condominium or apartment in our urban cores. You can find something that fits your lifestyle in Redmond. As the demand to live in Redmond continues to rise, we are working to do our part to help increase housing options. We are offering all of the available tools while removing barriers to increase the variety of affordable housing. We are doing this through policies, zoning updates, direct funding, inclusionary zoning, and multifamily tax exemptions. Homeowners can build accessory dwelling units on their property if they would like to be part of the solution to the housing crisis. We are proud to be regional leaders in the creation of affordable units and look to continue to build upon that legacy. This past year, with extensive community input, we finalized the city's first Housing Action Plan, which provides the direction for future housing policy, planning, and regulatory amendments, moving us toward improved housing diversity, quantity, and affordability. The city is creating the structure to improve housing in Redmond, but we need partners to help solve the housing crisis. We support vital projects like the Together Center redevelopment, which is creating urgently needed affordable homes in our community. The new campus will feature a full suite of health and social services paired with affordable housing together in one safe, transit-oriented development. And where's Kim? There's Kim. We also support King County's Health Through Housing program, a regional approach to providing housing and services for people experiencing chronic homelessness. By the end of 2022, King County will partner with local jurisdictions to create up to 1,600 permanent supportive housing units, including around 100 in the former Silver Cloud in the Overlake neighborhood. I know this has been a controversial program in many circles, but I believe as mayor and a resident of the city that I love, everyone deserves a chance to live here and make Redmond their home. This is one step to realizing that dream. We will continue to work with development partners, nonprofits, and other elected leaders to create more housing opportunities throughout our region. Just a moment. Like a Redmond cup or something. One major reason Redmond is such a livable place is people know that we are a safe city. You can walk through our downtown or any neighborhood and feel confident that you will be safe. However, the last 2 years have made us acutely aware of the challenges people have been facing and the resources needed to assist. We have invested in creating a community safety program where traditional public safety and alternative approaches work hand in hand. The Thrive program, which provides innovative approaches to creating safety and stability, is making a real difference in Redmond. Last year, the Mobile Integrated Health, or MIH program, worked with 312 community members to reduce risks in their homes, resulting in lessening the need to call 911, ultimately freeing up first responders for other emergency needs. Our licensed mental health professionals team up with police officers and co-responders to 911 calls. This has been an invaluable tool in de-escalating interactions and helping people in crisis. Last year, our mental health professional, Susie, co-responded to 376 calls and had over 1,100 interactions with people in our community who needed assistance. Susie's efforts truly make a difference in keeping our community safer. These two programs, in combination with the other components of our Thrive program, show the impacts these alternative approaches have in helping our community. While we've enjoyed great success at keeping our residents safe and responding to emergencies and crisis, we know that both our alternative and traditional emergency services are feeling the strain of a growing population and evolving city. In 2021, our Redmond Police and Fire Departments responded to nearly 38,000 emergency calls for assistance. At this time, revenues are not keeping pace with expenses. To quickly begin addressing this issue, earlier this year, I recruited 10 community members to volunteer on a sounding board to explore options for increased funding for our community safety programs both immediately and into the future. I hope you will visit the project webpage to take the questionnaire about funding safety, and I invite you to participate in a community meeting next week to learn more and join the discussion on this critical topic. We must fund a responsive and transparent public safety system that keeps pace with our growth and enhances our emergency services. Our ideas about what makes a livable place has changed over time as our community has evolved. Currently, our population is just over 73,000 people, and 40% of those who call Redmond home were born outside of the United States. We celebrate our diversity of race, sexual orientation, age, and abilities. Establishing practices that increase our city's ability to provide excellent services to everyone encourages cross-cultural interactions and strengthens the fabric of our community is part of our commitment to creating a safe, welcoming, and inclusive community where everyone feels a sense of belonging. That is why we are preparing a community assessment to determine how we are doing this work and to learn how the city can most equitably serve and create opportunities for all. Soon, we'll be asking you to share your thoughts through questionnaires and listening sessions. I hope you'll share your voice. The way a city plans for its future is influenced by the policies and people at that time. New information, demographics, regulations, and other influences help guide us for changes we need to make as we look to the future of Redmond. As an example, starting in the 50s, cities were planned around a car-centric society. Now, we are looking towards a transportation of the future with lower carbon emissions, increased use of public transit, teleworking, and a host of other factors in planning the future of Redmond. If you have walked, biked, or driven around Redmond lately, you might notice a few changes to the landscape. The structures for the light rail line can be seen going up throughout Redmond. This direction for Redmond wasn't something that could have been predicted from the earliest times, as the story of Redmond's past is varied. Early on, Redmond was a resting spot for indigenous people to get from one place to another. As the land was settled and a rail line was added, Redmond was known over time for logging and chickens. As our regional economy changed, so has Redmond. Where we were once a suburb for Boeing employees, the addition of a soon-to-be global corporation completely changed the trajectory of Redmond. We were no longer a pass-through, but a significant place on the map. These visual changes to Redmond over our recent history stem from innovative and intentional planning from our predecessors. We are the recipients of many years of thoughtful consideration of what Redmond could be: a city with urban centers, where the intentional placement of light rail stations, stormwater infrastructure, and dense housing would create the opportunities to attract and retain global corporations with a highly skilled workforce. The intentionality is brilliant. Not only does it make Redmond a place people choose to live for the high quality of life, it allows us to preserve or rehabilitate our natural spaces and improve our environmental footprint by reducing the reliance on single occupancy vehicles and creating other opportunities that reduce climate impacts. We have more work to do. As our urban centers develop, we need to be even more intentional and create what's been called 10-minute communities, a community where someone can access all of their regular daily needs within 10 minutes of their home. Ideas like this can be our future reality of Redmond. Planning for our future includes updating our transportation master plan with input from our community. This updated version will include emphasis on connecting people to our urban centers and creating more mobility options within our community. We've been working closely with Sound Transit to bring light rail to Redmond. Currently, the project is progressing on schedule. The elevated structures to downtown are under construction, and you will begin to see Sound Transit testing trains for their first 2 stations that will open in Overlake next year. So how do you imagine using light rail in your future? The first 2 stations will be opening in 2023, with the final 2 in 2024. I'm already imagining getting on the downtown station to catch a flight to SeaTac. No parking at the airport, no traffic. It sounds like a wonderful, low-stress way to start a trip, right? Light rail is just one part of the transportation story. The city has been partnering and constructing a number of multimodal city facilities and creating efficiencies in access to the 4 stations in Redmond. Improving pedestrian and bicycle access by building bike ped bridges and a tunnel, improving sidewalks, integrating and connecting trails, and we are working on improving vehicle access to all 4 stations. A transportation package was passed in the most recent legislative session. Thank you, Roger. And with the signing by the governor last Friday, I am happy to share that Redmond will receive $8 million to begin design and acquire the right-of-way to build a bicycle and pedestrian bridge adjacent to 148th over State Route 520. This is a big deal. We invested a lot of time in demonstrating to our legislative delegation, as well as other state leaders, the importance of this project in improving safety for people in this part of our city. I want to once again thank our legislators for ensuring we invest in alternative transportation options for our community. Doing our part and protecting the long-term health of our planet is integral to my decision Doing our part and protecting the long-term health of our planet is integral to my decision-making for the city. In 2020, I led the city's creation of our first Environmental Sustainability Action Plan. This is our roadmap for achieving Redmond's vision of a climate-friendly and environmentally sustainable community. The action plan implementation is well underway just 1 year after adoption. We are very fortunate to live in a city with a natural resource-rich place. This past year, the city completed 2 stream restoration projects, one under Willows Road and the other on Monticello Creek. The projects removed 3 fish barriers, opening hundreds of feet of healthy upstream habitat for salmon and other wildlife. We also continued working on restoring Bear Creek and the Keller Farm project. We look to modernize our recycling program, focusing on making services accessible to all residents. In January, we partnered with Ridwell to offer a free doorstep pickup recycling program with the goal of creating more equitable and convenient opportunities for hard-to-recycle items. We are seeing increased participation and recycling rates as a result. In January alone, 1,275 Redmond households participated in the pickups and recycled enough styrofoam to fill 5 26-foot moving trucks. We have another doorstep pickup recycling event in May, so be sure to watch for sign-up opportunities. As the City of Redmond, we're also taking a close look at our own operations. This past year, we adopted a strategy to improve energy and fuel efficiency so we can minimize our environmental impact. This includes the transition to an electric vehicle fleet and sourcing 100% renewable energy for city operations. We are also implementing data dashboards, a new tool to transparently share and monitor our sustainability goals and progress. In addition to our stewardship efforts, we completed the city's first climate vulnerability assessment earlier this month. The vulnerability assessment helps us understand and prepare for future impacts from climate change. We're integrating the findings into our planning efforts, including Redmond 2050, to support a climate-resilient community far into the future. I invite you to help reduce your impacts on the planet, too. In addition to participating in recycling opportunities, be sure to sign up for one of our free sustainable living classes where attendees receive tools and information to live more sustainably. Oh, I think I'm in water. You can also join Redmond's new Climate Action Challenge. Here you can learn ways to reduce your carbon footprint, access resources that will help you in your journey, log your accomplishments, and make a real impact. We will continue to work towards a future of increased sustainability, such as green infrastructure and changing our fleet over to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. We need to make sure Redmond is setting the standard for cities on how to be good stewards of our planet while using tax dollars wisely. Recently, I was in a conversation of why a city exists. As I mentioned earlier, the simple answer is cities exist to serve our community. The complex answer is everything I shared about what our city is doing and more. Every day, our staff work to make Redmond a place that will be desirable now and into the future. We keep our focus on the community priorities and customer service while balancing available funding sources, including federal ARPA funding and state and county allocations and grants, among other revenue sources. There is so much we can do within the city to be forward-looking and be that city of the future. To do so, we also need to work with our partners, including our neighboring cities, King County, legislators, the state, and our federal congressional delegation. I am honored to serve as the Sound Cities Association president this year, where I have a leadership role in making sure our city and the region are working for everyone in our county and state. Being a collaborative partner goes beyond working with other elected officials. It also demands that we work with businesses and nonprofit partners to bring all voices to the table to make the best decisions for the future possible to improve the lives of all our residents as well as those around us. Our most important partner is you. We need each of you in our community to be involved and participate where there are opportunities. We have developed many virtual options during the pandemic, and those will not go away. They can now be combined with in-person events and build an even more impactful and collaborative process. We have opportunities available now to share your thoughts. Please visit Let's Connect Redmond and provide your feedback. Currently, we're asking for community input on topics such as the Redmond Safety Funding Plan, the Park Plan, and Redmond 2050. And I hope you'll participate in Redmond's Climate Challenge. The vision of Redmond as a connected community that enhances livability and sustains the environment, and that places Redmond as a leader locally, regionally, nationally, is an achievable goal if we all work together. Redmond is a very special place to us all. We have opportunities before us that don't come around often. We have a thriving tech industry, support for small businesses, the beauty of our parks and trails and natural environment, and smart planning with a world-class transportation system on its way. But the most important part of Redmond are the remarkable individuals that have chosen to make this amazing city their home to live, work, and play. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening and placing your trust in me to lead this great city as your mayor. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have you stay up there. We have time for a few questions here today. So let's begin with a question from one of our audience, Debbie Lacey. Please come up.
Good morning, Mayor Birney. Thank you. Thank you, OneRedmond, too, for today. For those that don't know me, I'm Debbie Lacey. I'm the founder and executive director of Eastside for All, a race and social justice advocacy organization based here in East King County. And Mayor Birney, you mentioned about the diversity of Redmond, with 40% being immigrants from other places in the world. And if it's not already, Redmond will soon be majority people of color, similar to how Bellevue is now. And so with that, with the major plan update, comp plan update coming up, the other initiatives that you mentioned, can you share a little bit about Redmond's strategies and investments in ensuring that community engagement is meaningful and representative of all of our community?
Great. Thank you, Debbie, for that. Thank you, Debbie, for that question. Oh, Debbie, can you hear me? Okay. Can you guys hear me in the back? Okay, great. Thank you, Debbie, for that question. So we have been very intentional about our outreach for our Redmond 2050 project. We started that in the midst of early in the pandemic. We decided not to delay it. We used all available resources virtually to make sure we were connecting with the community. We've invested a lot of time and energy to make sure that Are you sure you can hear me in the back? Lisa, can you? Okay. Investing a lot of time and energy to making sure that people, no matter if they work during the day or night, or English is not their first language, have opportunities to give input to us in a really meaningful way. We've intentionally reached out to a lot of different groups within our community. A lot of that is shown also in the work that OneRedmond did in reaching out to businesses that weren't necessarily, knew how everything worked during the pandemic started. So we've used some of the same ideas to make sure we reach out, different community groups, different business groups, to make sure that we're hearing the voices from throughout our community. As I mentioned, 40% of our community comes from another country. Some, close as Canada, similar government structure. Elsewhere in the world, not necessarily so. And so we're working to become trusted partners, really valuing their input, really taking the time to understand where they see our community going toward 2050. And then we also have received a grant recently for about $30,000 to help in that continued outreach to make sure that we are doing everything we can, be it virtually, be it in person, being at an event. Having Derby Days will be great because there's so many people there, and we can pull in that input then. So we're really being as flexible as possible on how to make sure that we're actually hearing all the voices from our community as much as possible. And that's why we rely on all of you to make sure you are sharing your voices as well. I'm looking at the crowd. This is a very diverse group of people with all kinds of different interests, and it's more valuable to our city as we're planning to make sure we're really hearing from you now as we work toward where we go 2050. So that's just some of the things that we're doing.
Thank you, Mayor Birney. Our next question comes from Francisco Romo.
Hi, my name is Francisco Romo. I am the owner of Tropea. As you know, it was destroyed in a fire. I'm just here to ask for help. I don't know if the city has any fund from disasters or any support that we can get to rebuild back, and asking for the help of the community.
Yep.
That's my question, if there's any funds or help to fundraise or anything like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Francisco, for being here today. For those of you who don't know, there was a fire a bit ago that devastated many businesses in our community, and I am absolutely grateful that he's here today. I know the challenges that you are facing right now. And from the start, our public safety came in there, helped control the fire, help make sure the damage was as low as possible, and our police department worked to help investigate the situation as it was. So all of that's progressing. But at this point, we are working with you and with OneRedmond to help relocate these businesses. We're really hoping that you can all stay in the city of Redmond, and we'll continue to do that work. I know our permit department, though maxed out as they are willing to do whatever we can to help get those businesses up and running as soon as possible, as well making sure that you get the resources that you need. And in all honesty, I do think it's going to take our whole community to help support these businesses. There was an absolutely devastating fire that took out all these beloved businesses in our community, and I think it's really important that we, reach out to any partners that we can to help get you the assistance that you and the others need as well. To, if nothing else, relocate while the building is being rebuilt, and we'll continue to work with you on that. It's probably, I don't have a $1 million check to give to you right now. I'm sorry, but I do know how much this has impacted our entire community, because these businesses that were there were just so well known by everybody. And so we'll continue to help you find you a new place while it's being rebuilt and help you move back in as quickly as possible, and all of that as a city. And I know OneRedmond is there as a resource as well to do everything we can to help you out.
Thank you, Mayor. Our final question is from Alex Fong. Alex.
Good morning, Mayor Birney.
Good morning.
And thanks for being here, and thanks, OneRedmond. My name is Alex from Signarama. We are your local sign manufacturing company, and also a small business grant recipient. So thanks so much for your commitment onto the small business. It really helped us get people employed stay employed and products flowing to our customers. It's really exciting to see all the investments that you've put into the city of Redmond in terms of housing and accessibility. It's interesting to note that for us, 80% of our employees live outside of Redmond. And we think that as we start to climb out of the pandemic, continuing to hiring people and getting people to fill jobs is important. So I'm curious to understand from your perspective, what is the city doing to really promote all the good things that you're doing to the broader labor market around Puget Sound and really make the city of Redmond a really, really good place, a great place to work. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Well, we continue to work with our partner of OneRedmond and One Eastside as well, working out in the region to make sure people know that Redmond is a place where there are amazing tech companies, and there are also a lot of really other great jobs as well throughout our community. I was sharing last night with someone, Redmond is in an interesting place right now. The tech companies are doing amazingly well, and some of our smaller businesses are still struggling as hopefully the tech workers come back. Redmond, many of you know, we're working on the imbalance, but pre-pandemic, more people were here during the day than in the evening with the housing imbalance. And so we continue to work on creating more housing at a lot of different income levels so that people can afford to live here. And we continue to work on with our partner in economic development to make sure people know that there are job opportunities here as well of a variety of things. You don't have to be like my husband, a software engineer, to get a job here. There are actually quite a few jobs in a wide variety of places here. And so those are some of the things that we'll continue to do. But we continue to promote Redmond out in the community. That's why I'm very fortunate to be in this role, where I have a leadership role, not just in Redmond, but in the region as well. And I'm constantly sharing with people how wonderful Redmond is and what a great place to start your business and what a great place to come and work here and come live here and come experience some of our parks and other things as well. The more people come and experience our city, the more people will understand that we aren't just a little suburb anymore. We actually are a growing, diverse city with a lot of opportunities for anyone who wants to come live here and be here and work here. And that's always been my message for this amazing city. And I think I did your ribbon cutting, like pre-pandemic times. No. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for staying in Redmond. Well, that's it. All right. Well, I have this long speech I have to read because I cannot memorize that much. But I do want to say how grateful I am. All of you have been here today, both virtually and in person. It's an absolute honor to be here. It's wonderful to see all of you. And there are a lot of pastries left outside that are absolutely delicious, so please enjoy and thank you.
Well, just want to make sure I thank Mayor Birney very much. I also want to make sure, in another kind of tag-on answer to Alex, we have a new One Eastside job board coming out that's not only meant to talk about all the jobs, tech, as well as our service sector jobs. I think we're highlighting 6 different industries. So it's meant to keep our locals working, hopefully with local companies, but there's a secondary motive is to also help try to recruit folks as well to work for our companies and our job openings. So, okay, well, thank you all for coming. I want to thank again our sponsors for today, our presenting sponsor, Amazon, Overlake Medical Centers, our supporting sponsors, Business Health Trust, and all our contributing sponsors. I want to thank all our members who invest in OneRedmond, in particular our founding level sponsors, Microsoft, Nelson Legacy Group, and the City of Redmond. Thank you. I want to give a special thank you to the City of Redmond staff for helping us with this amazing hybrid production event today. Thank you. I want to give a big thank you to the OneRedmond staff, too, particularly Margot Shirayama and Sarah Meets, who worked very hard in producing this event. Thank you. And I want to thank to all our members for the investment they make in OneRedmond and in the future of our community. And last but certainly not least, I want to thank all of you here and the 100+ people out in our virtual audience. Thank you for coming today. Have a great rest of the day, and we hope to see you at our next event, which is a hard hat happy hour on April 21st, right across the street at Modera River Trail by Mill Creek Residential. So thank you all for coming. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.